they would have to get explained.
All right, everybody. Jason Sloan with Furtado Law Solutions, live here with Steve. Steve, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing, Jason?
Good.
Good.
So, where are you at these days?
I am personally on the west coast of Canada currently. I was I was living down. The business is all down the states, but we were living down the states for a while, and then COVID hit, and then they were in California, and they shut down the schools. So we just said, screw it. We're heading back to Canada, which was actually less restrictive than California, and I think still is at this point in time. So
Yeah, California. I think it opened up for a minute and then it closed back down, from what I hear.
yeah, I
So,
don't think kids have even gone back to school yet in most parts of the state. So
I think I'd be going crazy if that was my kid.
we're looking at more of a freer state now, something like Texas, where where you got more freedom now. So
Yeah, yeah. Very nice. All right. So let's get started. Tell us about your background, business, and personal.
well, before Results Grow, I had a company in the west coast of Canada called Canada Furnace, and it just started out real small. Me in a truck. This is 2007, and spent like a couple of years just struggling and grinding and trying to figure things out. And the only way I was able to get leads was picking up cold calling customers on the phone, and it was just a real slow start. And we're doing like one install a month or something like that, and whatever. And then we slowly started to figure out marketing. Slowly kind of started to put the piece together, and then it started to pick up. And then we were doing a bunch more, and then I ended up, long story short, I sold the company 10 years later. We're doing like 850 installs a year. Like an HVAC install is probably comparably priced to what like a roofing install, depending on where you're getting most of your clientele is here. But that was kind of the background of that. And then from there, after I sold the company in 2017, myself and another fellow, we launched Results Grow, which is basically just helping contractors run their marketing company. It started off just HVAC, and then we had an HVAC contractor that was also a roofer. And now at this point in time, all the same stuff that works for the HVAC industry to grow businesses and to get leads works perfectly in the roofing industry too. So we have more roofing companies now than we do HVAC companies, which is funny twist. So.
All right.
Yeah, there's sure. If you just want to flash that, we can circle back to it if you want. Or
Okay.
This is kind of it's just kind of an example. So this is a company in California. They're in a bunch of different industries. So they're a roofing company and they're into HVAC. So if you look in the middle column, it says results there. What each of those results are is us driving them a lead. And a lead is their phone number, their email address, their contact information delivered to a CRM system. The CRM system helps you contact them, email them, text them, all that kind of stuff. So in the past, whatever period that was, let's call it a year and whatever, they had 236 roofing leads we sent them. They had 181 HVAC leads. They had another round of 180 a different roofing campaign, and the list goes on. So HVAC and roofing, they also do a lot of stuff. They're doing painting. They're doing all, whatever it is related to a house. That's my entire background. That's all that we know. We know home services. From us as a company, we don't sell leads. We're not like Home Advisor. We're just flat rate, right? So basically, we drive you leads, and it's up to you to basically sell them. We'll get you in touch with them as best we can, but the rest is up to you. It's all the stuff that we basically learned with my own company over the course of 10 years.
Okay. Sweet. Very nice. All right. Back to the questions. So you talked about how long you've been in business with the HVAC and also the marketing business. You talked about growing up in Canada and moving around the U.S. and back to Canada, so we're past that. What do you do when you're not working?
Well, I got a family. I got 2 kids who are home today because there's some sort of weird holiday that they created in Canada. They just came up with like last week, and so the teachers get a vacation, and the kids are home with me today. And yeah, just hang out with the family and watch movies. And I mean, before it used to be poker and hanging out all the time and doing stuff, but now it's it's mostly family stuff. So
Yeah, yeah, I understand that. So sometimes Peter Pan has to grow up, right?
that's right. That's right.
All right. So on these other slides you had, which one do you want to go to next?
Maybe just pull up roofing too, because I know that most of your clients, you got a zillion clients all over the states. I think they're mostly from the roofing industry, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It might be one of the more relevant ones to them. So this company, we're pulling them in a variety of leads. They really wanted to go for the insurance roofing business because they were able to get more money from insurance jobs. So we can, like, what we're doing in the back end. So let's say you want to drive leads, you dictate to us. We need some basic information. We need some basic price that you'd be charging. Maybe what your deductibles will be. Like what your warranties are. So we take your basic information. We collect that during the initial call. We set up the ads for you. It's your phone number. It's your pictures. If you have some media to run, you don't have to. We can come up with it all for you. We put it all up in line and run the ads for you, and then drive the leads back to you. So this company wanted to do insurance claims. So if you look over that like top line, the insurance claims roofing sale,
Mm-hmm.
this guy had 109 leads, and if you scroll that further to the right, the average cost is $12.10. And again, that's just the expense that is getting paid to the social media platforms, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that money doesn't go to us; you just pay that directly to them. So we don't sell leads. This is like if you go through Home Advisor and you go through these lead gen companies, they want to sell you a lead for whatever they charge, $50, $100. Then they want to divide the lead by 8 different people, and then it's just this race to the bottom. Who can? I think it's not a good way to do business. For my own business, I never used lead gen companies. I think it's a waste. Our opinion is you need your own leads coming from your own advertisements, running your logo, your info, your data, and run the leads directly back to you. So we can specialize them down to insurance quotes. We can specialize them down to retail roofing, or whatever you want to do. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also I've dealt with stuff kind of similar, but the companies I worked with in the past, they didn't have the robust systems that you had. We've talked about this. It's like literally, oh, here's some leads from 3 days ago, right?
Yeah.
With you guys have your CRM. The person's getting as far as the contractor, they're getting the information right away, and then you can have it set up that literally it'll text and email the people right away, and it'll just keep talk until they set up an appointment.
It does, yeah, and we've had this issue in the past where we'll send contractors come in a range of how aggressively they pursue the leads. So usually the bigger contractors, they even have staff that call them right away, and the leads are dealt with well and all that kind of stuff. If you're a small company and you're on the roof, say 75% of your day, you don't have time to jump on every lead. You can't pick up the phone and text and email, because really what should happen within a minute of the lead coming in, you should call them, you should text them, you should email them. They don't pick up. Text them again in 5 minutes. Text them again 2 hours later. It seems like you're badgering them, but you're not, because the customers are busy too, right? So there's systems and software that will do it all for you. They will text and email and call and text and email and call and just constantly try to get a hold of the customer. As soon as a customer is connected to it, it'll put you in connection with the customer. So we just find it's a better way to make sure the leads are maximized that are going over to you. If you're a bigger company, sometimes you want to turn the whole thing off and run it all yourself. That's fine. We can turn it off. But it's like you need a good flow of leads, and you need the best chance you can get at getting a hold of them. So.
Yeah. Well, but the one thing I remember talking to you and your sales manager the other day is you have a lot of companies that you're working with that are bigger, and it's like, okay, they do the call, and they'll do the email and the other stuff through the system. And if they don't get a hold of the person right away, then they put it on autopilot. It's, because guess what? When you're a huge company and you have hundreds or thousands of leads coming through, you don't have time to be calling the same person over and over again when you got another 100 new leads coming tomorrow.
Yeah, there's also kind of a misperception on what people think. Like they think, okay, well, you try to call them, you try to email them, they weren't interested. It's not true. Sometimes people just need to, they need to get texted and emailed 5 times, and they go, oh yeah, I was meaning to get back to you. Yeah, when are you available to pop out? And all of a sudden, it'll sort of, everything will come together, and you'll sell a $12,000 roofing job to them, right? So
Yeah, I have the same thing. I have people we have great conversations with about supplements, and yeah, we're gonna use you guys, and then I hit them up. I do the soft touch and everything every once in a while. I always do the okay. When would be a good time to circle back around? All that stuff, and then some stuff happens and everything else. I had one contractor like 6 months later just send in the paperwork, contracted everything. We've been trying to get a hold of him and just, oh yeah, we're finally ready. Send us 50 files right away to work on. So it's the same thing with basically every industry. Stuff happens. Stuff has happened to most of us. You can be, everything's going on, and then all of a sudden your kid gets sick and something or whatever, and life kicks you in the butt, and you got to deal with that sometimes. So
no, totally.
I really understand that.
Totally agree.
So this system is great about following up with those people, so that way you guys can do what you do best as far as actually dealing with the clients, selling the jobs. But the way it is they filled out the ad, they've set up the appointment, the job's half sold already, the way I look at it.
Yeah, you still gotta, it's then, we try to give people guidance on like sales related stuff, but at the end of the day, you just want to make sure don't just give them a price over the phone. Don't just try to sell it on the spot. You really you need to get in the house, right? You need to just sell the customer on you getting to the house to get them a quote. And the real value of that isn't for you to do a sales call at the house. It's you go to the house, the customer starts getting comfortable with you. They go, you know what? This is somebody that I would trust to give $10,000 to. This is somebody I would trust to be around my house for a couple of days while they're working on it. And they go, you know what? I don't want to get 10 other quotes. I might as well just give the quote to this guy. And that doesn't happen over the phone. So it's just really important that you get to the house, write a quote, ask for the sale on the spot, and asking for the sale is as simple as, hey, I can do this next Tuesday. If you do next Tuesday, I'll give you $500 off. Like do a basic calendar close on them. They'll go, okay, let's do it. Right. Simple as that. It's just very, very, simple, straightforward stuff. But it's gonna increase the amount of jobs you got coming in for sure.
Yeah, but insurance, we can't say, oh, we'll give you $500
no,
off, but we can do the upgrade thing. Yeah, retail. Yeah,
good point. This is where your supplements come in. Yeah,
exactly. It's like, hey, we're gonna do upgraded. This is what we do if you can meet us. Blah blah blah. Hey, we're doing, and I'm sure that could be part of the texting thing that pops in their thing. Hey, if you're available next Wednesday, we got an open slot. This is what we're able to do for you, you know? And if they haven't met with anybody, then that's great. There's some stuff that a lot of contractors are doing now. Like synthetic felt is most contractors are using. Number one, it's easier. It doesn't tear. Now the cost has come way down. It's not like back 10, 12 years ago when I was working with Kyle and we were using Feltex and we were one of the only ones. And I didn't like the fact that it was 10 foot long, 10 foot wide, but it sure, a 20 square roof, you could lay that in 2 minutes almost. The guys could. And then we found out that you could actually, not all the synthetic felts, but the more heavy duty, including Feltex, you could actually gun nail it down. It actually was made to gun nail down instead of using regular caps. And the guys were like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And so I had to go to our crews and go over it. And I'm like, this is why you have more nails and no caps. This product is made to do this, and it will hold it. It doesn't need the nail caps. Just hit it where the pattern says to hit it.
Right.
And they started loving it, But there's a lot of cheaper synthetics out there nowadays, and it's still good. Don't get me wrong. It's still better than regular felt, but some of it is, you might be, if it's a job that doesn't have a lot of profit in it, you might not be using the best synthetics on the house, compared to those juicy big jobs at multi-trades and you're making 50-60% off. So, do you want to show that other roofing one, or do you want to go to any of the other slides?
Well, if yeah, either the one that says three buckets is might be a good one to stop on, just to give people just a quick kind of overview. There's a lot of confusion on sort of what how you get work in the it essentially in the anything to do with home services, so roofing, HVAC, yard maintenance, any of this kind of stuff. It's being swallowed up by the internet. It's like 90% of the internet. So the whole world of advertising and marketing, it's really boiled down to just online, and there's about 10% of business that gets done via direct mail. So forget about everything that's not digital, and digital even needs to get siloed into certain little areas. So one of the big ones is just a basic a basic website. You don't need anything fancy. You can even build them yourself if you want to, right? But just it's sort of like a business card online. It's not going to drive you a lot of work unless you do SEO for years and years and years. It's a slow, long process to build up web infrastructure, but you want to at least plant your seeds, have something basic. What we had chatted about today was the middle section, social media lead acquisition. This is probably the least expensive way to get leads nowadays. My business was more on the right side bucket, was driving leads via Google, but the problem with Google's gone out of control. Google is up to 10 times more expensive to drive leads. You can spend $300-400 per lead on Google nowadays because everybody's doing Google. So social media has sort of replaced Google in a lot of ways, supplanted Google in terms of where all the energy is driving towards. And who knows, in 5 years, it might be something completely different. TikTok is how we're going to be getting all of our jobs, but we're not there yet, right?
Are you guys doing anything on LinkedIn for more commercial jobs and stuff?
No, I've experimented with that. Exactly what you're saying. Commercial is really tough because it's like it doesn't work well with marketing. That somebody looking, let's say you own an ice arena or something. You're looking for a new roof or new HVAC system. Those guys type in the same stuff that a consumer does. So it's really hard to just isolate just for commercial. It's much more relationship based. And so you're right. It goes back to LinkedIn, and that's just a long process, man. It's like it's great. And say out of our business, 10% of it after 10 years was commercial because it's so much faster and easier to drive high volume consumer leads than it is to do commercial leads. Commercial business is great, but it's not fast to build. Yeah.
I'm sure you did a few where you were working with a roofer and had to bring in cranes and everything else. And it's like, there was so I've seen plenty where it's like there's absolutely nothing wrong with the AC, just the way it's tied in, and then all of a sudden it's like you have to come in on a weekend, crane everything off, and then they do that section of the roof, and then it gets craned right back on and turned back on, so that way they got air conditioning.
Yeah. Well, you got to have your curb in place, and the roofer goes up the curb, and then there's commercial is a whole bundle of different problems that. Plus, you got to wait to get paid, which I always hated. I want to do the job and get paid as quick as I can. And I know that's where your company comes in on the insurance side, is getting paid a heck of a lot faster.
Mm-hmm. And a lot. I mean, as far as larger companies, when they're doing that, they should be able to cover a lot of those costs. And they're getting a lot of that money up front, anyways. If it's a detach and reset, they get all that money up front, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the price the insurance says typically because we had to get a crane and everything else, and everything's getting but the guys should have the money. And the thing is you should not be robbing Peter to pay Paul. And guys should have their, especially for big jobs, you need to have your account set up, and so that way you're on a 30-day. But like Randy Brothers, he's got his stuff set up with the accounts. Typically, they pay him under 30 days, but they're on a net 60. So basically, till the end of the month, then they have another up to 60 days to pay. And when you're a huge company, you kind of need that every once in a while, depending on volume and everything. So some of that's negotiating and showing your payments and saying, hey, I need a net 60, not a net 30. Right. Maybe, and if I do the net 30, I get, or and setting up all your discounts and everything too. A lot of these guys, no offense, but I mean, literally I had for my business, and it's still set up, I have 5 accounts set up for roofing and 3 for siding. If Denver gets smashed and I get 100 phone calls, I don't have to be there to do anything.
Right.
I have my referral lead base and everything else. And I've gotten quite a few calls and I've sent people out. Fortunately, the ones that, of course, the people that called had bulletproof roofs. And I'm like, there's not going to be anything wrong, but you still got to send it out for customer service and everything.
Right.
But other than that, yeah. So we talked about LinkedIn. That's the long game on that. Commercials are great. So, but it could be a strategy that a large company could use to build that database up of, hey, we have all these companies that own tons of properties, and we get a massive storm, and guess what? You're not marketing that year. You've already got all the fish in the barrel. You've already done the marketing. So.
The LinkedIn thing can't be. It's really tough to hire it out, and you can't really BS it. It just needs to be legitimate, reaching out to people and having real conversations, and so it's definitely doable. But you got to have the energy for it, and you gotta work it, right?
What about the ads on LinkedIn that they're starting to do? Have you looked into that?
We've tried them. We've experimented with it. It didn't work for us personally. Like this is us trying to find contractors. It didn't work from that perspective. LinkedIn is a bit of a ghost town. I find. I mean, that's just my own opinion. There's not a high activity level. Compared to say Instagram or something like that of people actually actively using it. There is some way to effectively use it. We haven't cracked the code yet, right? So for us, cracking the code, like we want to be bringing in, like for our own business, say 250 leads a month of just contractors. It's like if we can pull out 3 contractors, it's not gonna do it for us. So it's like, we just need to find the ways to bring in high volumes of clients, right?
Yeah, exactly. I understand that. Do you want to go to the compare sheet?
Sure. It's just basically a price sheet. You can show people that. But, for us, how we work is we don't sell leads. We don't charge per lead. One service for us is say like us running all of your lead gen for you. So you're say $750 a month. There's different packages. We can also build your website, run it all for you. That adds a $250. We can also take over all of your Google Maps, take over all of your Google guaranteed stuff, which there's a bunch of niche stuff that you can do to that to kind of maximize that. But most companies do one service. A bunch of companies do 2 services, and some companies do 3 services. We deal with some companies that are multi-state, and then you get into different packages and custom things and stuff like that. But for us, we're just flat rate. We're month to month. We also don't charge you anything until the leads actually start. So let's say, you meet with one of our guys, and then, a week later, we finally have put it all together, put the ads up in line, got everything launched. The first lead hits. We reach out to you, go, hey, did you get that lead? You go, yeah, I just saw it, just came in. Great, perfect. That's when your month will actually start. So we charge you nothing at first. We don't charge until the leads start coming in. So
that's amazing compared to what I've dealt with in the past. So
there's a lot of companies that are like these guys in their basement that have just nothing, like they're just trying to squeeze any dollar. It's just we're not trying to squeeze a 750 under. We want it to be working. You give us a thumbs up, you let us know it's working, and we'll put you into the system. So
yeah, and just like I had a company, they're decent size, but I paid them up front, and that's how it used to be. And it was like it took them like 2 months to make an ad, and I'm like, why am I freaking paying you?
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't you already have stuff ready? And like, I've given you graphics and other stuff and all this. I'm just like, you guys should be professional. Like, if I have a contractor come to me that needs a supplement, I don't take 2 months to write a freaking supplement. I'd be out of business.
Yeah.
And I had to negotiate some stuff with them and say, hey, you do not want to be on my bad side. Like, trust me.
It's also, you start to lose trust, and that's not a good way to run a business.
No, exactly. And the thing is if hey, everything's going good and all of a sudden there's an issue, you guys already talked about it. You guys are watching it. Hey, you guys have a bunch of different ads already ready to go, and all of a sudden something's not performing anymore. You can switch it out, and you'll let us know, hey, we had to switch it, and that's
essentially what the ongoing work is. So we have a spreadsheet that comes out every day. It's a daily report showing the cost per lead, CPL of every single client. Whoever climbs that list and the cost per lead starts trending up, we automatically swap the leads out, replace them, we don't even involve you. We've already completely changed out in the background, and then we see, great, it's being reset. The lead costs coming down. That's the problem with social media or the difficult part about it. It's high maintenance, so you need to. People get tired of the ad very fast. It burns out very fast. You got to change the offer. Labor Day sales, and then that only works for 2 weeks, and then take it down. So there's a high turnover of ads compared to Google, that you put one ad up, you run it for 2 years, it keeps working, but it'll cost you 10 times more on a cost per lead basis. So
yeah, so pluses and minuses to both. But if you guys are running it, it's a huge plus.
yeah, it's gotten too expensive. The old ways of Google everything is it's gotten out of control in terms of.
Yeah, well, but I'm saying that the fact is if you guys are taking care of the ads and swapping it out, that's your niche.
Exactly.
I just had to do when I was dealing with it, and they were like, "Oh, switch out the picture." I didn't know had to switch the picture in 30 different freaking places. I was like, "This is the dumbest thing ever. There should be like a select all button. Come on, you're a multi-billion-dollar company, and you can't say, oh, switch all images. No,
exactly.
I have to do each damn image."
It's very very fickle, and they have, it's very political system too. Like if they feel as though you're making any kind of political statement, or any kind of, if they think it's, oh, is this actually an employment ad, or Facebook will literally just shut your account down for like 2 or 3 days, and it's happened over and over. We had, and we're pretty sure it got shut down. We had a whole set of ads shut down for a bunch of customers because we kept putting the word houses in it. And they kept saying, you're being discriminatory. Houses for your home, for your home. We're pretty sure the discrimination they were referring to is that some people are homeless, so we're discriminating against people that are homeless because we're only advertising to people with houses. So we took out the word houses, and they approved them. So it's out of control. Like it's a very fickle system, and they're so overly sensitive. But we do thousands of ads, and it's you get used to the games that you got to play. So
what do you think about the short videos that people can't go away from on YouTube?
YouTube for us, we think there's a big, it's one that we don't, the CPL ends up being a lot higher still, but we keep pushing and experimenting on YouTube. I think I know the videos you're talking about. Like, you're kind of, the problem is you really need to grab people like the first 2 or 3 seconds. Like even on Facebook or YouTube, mostly Facebook, it's like we've experimented and had various video ads. Video ads don't perform as well as static ads right now. Because it's, people, you have about 2 seconds to give them all the data. They've scanned it, they've moved on, and if you got to wait 4 seconds to get into the video, you've already lost them. So
you guys were talking about, like, you guys kind of have some like Jiffy kind of ads, right?
Yeah, we are. I mean, basically, there's still static ads. There's still images that rotate through them like a slideshow. People wanting to keep seeing more. We've done everything. We've had really complicated ads, like professionally produced. We've like video ones to sometimes if that stops working, we literally on purpose put up an ugly ad, like a purple and pink, just something to stand out, just to grab people's attention. It'll work for a while, and then you go back to a different kind of ad. It's an ongoing, never-ending experiment on what will work, and it constantly keeps changing. Every state's different, and every big city is different. What works in LA doesn't work in Seattle, and vice versa, right? So.
I had one of the guys I work with. He was talking about like basically running ads like for like, if you're in a certain state and that's the college team, and basically you already know, having ads like that, type of thing.
It's worth a shot, and that's kind of the fun of it. You never really know. We saw some idea that we saw from some car dealership. This was last week. It was something like, this deal is nuts. It was like a picture of a squirrel. And I thought that's a terrible ad, but whatever. Let's run an experiment. And it started driving leads at $4 a pop. And then we tried it again in a different town. It totally failed, but it's like the first, like you never know what's going to work. And, for us, it's just constantly, if we see something working somewhere, we can roll out something similar and kind of experiment with it. But it's an ongoing, never ending experiment is the fun of it. So,
yeah, completely understand. If there was a way to understand what each little jurisdiction. I mean, you can be in a zip code and you could have 10 different types of people that one ad will work for one person and it won't work for their next door neighbor type of
Exactly.
thing.
And then it burns out too, right? Like let's say if you're isolating for homeowners with money and a certain education, blah, 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 in a given area, you shrunk 1 million population that are in the market for roofing. You're down to like 60,000 people. And then you show the same ad over and over and over again. People, they get kind of tired, ad fatigue, and it starts to not work. And even if it's a great ad, you still need to change it out because people get tired of looking at it. So
yeah, it's not like old TV stuff where you're like, oh yeah, the local celebrity, type
right,
of thing.
right.
So, any closing remarks?
No, just reach out to us. If you go to resultsgrow.com, there's a bunch of links on there that you can click and book a Zoom with us. Next steps for us is we just sit down and we do a Zoom. We can pull up probably ads from other people in your area running ads. We can give you very specific examples of what's working in your area. It's totally free. And like you said, Jason, sometimes you get on a Zoom with us and then 6 months later you call us back. It's no obligation. Hop on a Zoom. We'll show you how it works. We'll show you some more specifics to your area. And we'll go from there.
So are you ready to talk about our secret sauce, or you want to wait on that for a minute?
we could talk about anything. That's the fun of it.
So we're talking, if anybody is interested in looking at jobs that are basically already sold, supplemented, and basically you're walking in and doing the job. So that way, if you're a company of one, you do great work, and you're just looking to expand without having to figure out how to bring on new salespeople, train them and everything, we're putting together a program for you guys. So we'll be doing another Facebook Live once we get all those details ironed out.
Yeah, no, we gotta. That one's a bit of an experiment. It's a very slow rollout. We don't want to do it too fast, but it's something that me and our two teams are working on, and we're gonna see if we can make it work. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, if anybody needs any estimates or supplements, you know how to get a hold of me. Call or text at 720-296-6618 and email me at jason@furtadolaw.solutions. So thanks a lot for being on here, Steve.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks for having us on.